Hey, you guys, I'm so excited to be starting this trauma bond series that I'm doing, and I'm just going to give it a moment to see if any of the subscribers from the last live chat is going to carry over into this one, or hey, maybe someone's bumping into me new. Welcome to the channel as well. Hope you guys enjoy the content. I've really been, meditating on trauma bonds lately, and I have a lot of information to share with you guys in regards to. So, and like I said in my last live chat, this is just to help you guys with your self awareness, or for my psychology junkies out there that just love to learn how the human mind works. Because trauma bonds, are very scientific. It's very physiological, if you will. But in this video, we're going to talk about the scary aspects of a trauma bond and why they're so dangerous, why you should care about them, and why there's a weight to this, especially for a channel that talks about narcissistic abuse, because that's exactly what you have with that narcissist eventually. 9 times out of 10. I'm not going to say everybody that interacts with a narcissist ends up having a trauma bond, because just because you've been abused doesn't mean that you will develop a trauma bond. It's not a guarantee, but it's definitely something to understand, to help you understand, especially why a person stayed in a situation that was so toxic for so long. So let's go ahead and jump into this, the scary aspects or the scary part of a trauma bond. Number one, they cause you to question your own reality. You never want to be in that type of situation where you're questioning your own reality and, questioning what's literally happening in front of your face. Because trauma bond comes with all types of elements, and we know about gaslighting and manipulation and Stockholm syndrome and cognitive dissonance. Hold on, I need some water real quick. Yeah, a lot comes with the trauma bond, you guys. So, you know, questioning your own reality, it gets you out of your truth, and it can get you literally out of the truth. So, that's definitely a scary aspect of a trauma bond. Number two, trauma bonds can have you trust someone else's reality more than your own. So, it kind of piggybacks off of number one. You're trusting someone else's reality more than your own, and that puts that other person in the power position to definitely, basically manipulate you at that point. And when you give the wrong person, well, you shouldn't give anyone that power, but when a manipulative, deceitful person has that type of power, yeah, that's what definitely makes it toxic there. Number three, it leads to further disconnect with yourself. So this is how you end up in a situation by the end of the relationship. You don't even recognize yourself in the mirror, type of thing, because you've been, so disconnected from yourself as the relationship progresses. Starting with, like I said, questioning your own reality, trusting someone else's reality over your own. So, number four, once you're disconnected with yourself on that type of level, obviously you're just going to be further off balance and out of alignment in your life. So, it's like minimally like a distraction from your purpose. It's minimally a distraction from your purpose. And I had to say minimally. And it's unfortunate some people may be completely derailed off of their purpose at that point. Number five, your lack of personal sense of identity makes a person, easier to control and manipulate and mold you at that point. So, as you're further disconnected with yourself, your lack of sense of identity, you're just basically easier to be controlled, manipulated, and then we'll add molded there. And this is how someone becomes someone else's puppet, basically. All right. Number 6 is a pretty powerful one. You don't acknowledge your right to choose. So at this point, you're not really seeing your options, and there's a scientific reason for that, you guys, and we're going to get into that. I didn't do like the first, like how our trauma bonds are formed, because it was so much information. And I was like, do I have the energy to do that live chat right now? It's going to come. And maybe I might just bang it out, but you're not looking at you're not acknowledging your right to choose. And honestly, it is a scientific reason behind that, because certain parts of your brain that's being activated is deactivating the other parts of your brain that takes into account long-term planning and consequences. So it's like one part of your brain is going against another part of your brain. Your short-term reasoning is going against your long-term reasoning. Or basically your short-term reasoning is being activated while your long-term reasoning is being deactivated or closed off or shut off. So you're not really seeing your options the way that you should be seeing. And someone has a comment here. Let me just read it. Freedom says, I'm feeling that trauma bond right now with the government and media and the movies that have my family in a state of fear. Abusers always blame the victims. Yeah, I'm so glad that you brought that up, Freedom, because I'm going to actually, part of this series, I'm going to do the types of trauma bonds. Yeah, I'm going to be doing that one with you guys. And that would be like, let me just see if I find my notes for that one. Yeah, it'd be like a collective trauma. Collective trauma. I will put that under collective trauma. But hey, Jessie J. Yep. So there's different types of trauma bonds, and we're going to be going over those eventually as well. This is that darn love face that I have to block on every live chat. It's so crazy. Let me just block this person now. Every time I block them, it just blocks them from the live chat and not the channel. I'm going to have to let me write this person's name down so I could get to them. But they'll just make another account, right? So this might be in vain. But yeah, where were we? Yeah, we were just talking about you not acknowledging your right to choose, and why that's happening is beyond your ability to be able to think, but is actually some chemically and hormonal things that are actually going against your ability at that point. And that's the scary thing about a trauma bond, you guys. So number 7, the other scary thing about a trauma bond is you don't actually see past your abuser's mask the way that you need to. Or you're not seeing the abuser as clearly as you should. They're not like bare and naked behind you. They're still tricking you, like with the Stockholm syndrome, to think that there's something positive or good about you maintaining that connection with them. So you're not seeing your abuser for who they are, or it's just like kind of foggy or unsure or conflicting. That's what a trauma bond does to a person. It's just not crystal clear, or maybe if you feel like it's crystal clear, it's not, because it's full of a bunch of delusions and illusions, honestly. But it's still, at the end of the day, if it's full of delusions and illusions, point blank period, you're just not seeing your abuser for who they are at that point. And that's scary. That's scary because that means you're going to be giving them, just giving them the connection, period, but then giving them access to parts of you that, they can deceive you and rob from you and manipulate you, you know? It's really scary. People have lost a lot by doing that. You don't want to let the wrong people into your circles. And that is a scary part of a trauma bond. Number 8, you guys, you'll tend to confuse a trauma bond with love. And that's a big one. That's a big one, because if you're mistaking this trauma bonding experience for love, of course you're going to want to stay. And why would someone might say, well, why would someone mistake a trauma bond, which is basically someone as being abused, feeling emotionally or psychologically attached to their abuser? Why would someone confuse someone that's abusing them with love? It's because when it's a trauma bond, it's all this poor behavior, but it's also followed by positive enforcements or positive behaviors. So it's really the positive behaviors that are, having this person release these dopamines after the trauma, and it's making it feel more powerful than the trauma itself, if that makes sense, you guys. And we're going to get into that when I do the base video for this trauma bond series, which I should have just done first probably to make sure, but it's okay. It's okay. I'm sure most of you have a general sense what a trauma bond is anyway, if you're here in this channel. But yeah, people will tend to confuse the trauma bond with love, but there's definitely a psychological part to that. So don't be calling yourself stupid if you were in a situation where in hindsight you realize, you know what, dang, like I really stayed with that person for all that time because we were just running off of a trauma bond. Really, it was not real love. But there's a lot of psychological and hormonal things that are going into that made it that way for that time. Okay. Jesse J has a question. Let's see what your question is, hon. Okay, you put 2 things here, but I caught this one. Let me read the first one first, and I'll share it with everyone else. And you guys are welcome. I always say this in my live chats. You are welcome to ask me questions, but just, as long as you're okay with me answering it in front of whoever's here, And if you want more privacy, I do still do coaching, you guys. And my website is generally at the bottom of all of the live chats or whatever, maybe in the description. So Jesse J says the narcissist has 2 baby mothers, included, and a wife. Okay. And because I took him to court for child support, he abandoned his child and told his wife to I'm not sure if I got that last part, to let me that. And then you said, why does he hate me so much? But him, his wife, and the other baby mom are friends. Oh, it sounds like you're scapegoating. They're scapegoating you. All right, Jesse. And he hates you so much because, narcissists run off the images. So if you're taking him to child support, you're trying to hold him accountable. You're trying to make him do more than he feels like he should have to do. Yeah, that's what that sounds like. They've scapegoated you. And I guess the other baby mom, maybe, I don't know if he has children with his wife, but, someone may be the golden child and this might change just because he's doing this to you now. It may not stay that way. He might try to love bomb you eventually and then, scapegoat the other baby mom. Like, this is how they operate in cycles of abuse. And chances are it's going to be extremely rare that he will maintain a love bomb for both of them for so much time. chances are there's going to be things going on behind the scenes where he's doing the cycle of abuse for them as well, even if you're not getting a front row seat to it. Let me see here. Yeah, and it's not that he hates you so much. I think he just hates what you're doing per se. He hates being held accountable. He hates being told what to do. Like a court is controlling him at that point. We know narcissists, they want the ultimate control anytime they could take it. They don't want somebody controlling them. And if you're taking him to court, that means that, the mask had to fall at some point, and you're not putting him on a pedestal, and you're putting yourself first. These are all the things that would call a narcissistic injury. And, they don't want you to be empowered. They want you to put their needs and wants first. So maybe his wife and that other woman probably didn't take him to court for child support, and they are, they're being good supply to him. They're taking his side and telling him what he wants to hear. That's probably what's going on. And you're saying he does have a child with his wife. Yeah. So yeah, that's what it is. He didn't get his way. Real life, they need to learn life does not revolve around a narcissist. So, but good for you for, empowering yourself to do what you have to do, whether he likes it or not. But I have some really good videos, Jessie J, on narcissists and parenting. And maybe I could post some down here in a comment. But there's some of my highly viewed videos, and you might take comfort in there. In those videos, and lots of people, like hundreds of people, will come under them and make comments of their similar situations. And you're not the only one. But the main takeaway that I'll tell you real quick is narcissists treat the child how they feel for you. Your child is going to get treated by how he feels for you. And that's why he abandoned your child, because he's abandoning you. And a lot of times they say narcissists see children as an extension of themselves. Well, in the mother of your children, because I don't like the baby mama word necessarily. I don't like that title. You're the mother, of someone's child. He'll treat, when they're not together in that type of way, and even if he is with his wife, he's going to treat that child the way he feels for her. So that's how it's easy for them to just walk away. They don't make healthy connections anyway, right? They really don't. Not even with their own children. Their own children do not get a pass. All right. So let's talk about some more scary aspects of the trauma bond. And I hope that helped you, Jessie J, in your situation. At least, think about, some other angles there. Another scary thing about the trauma bond is it keeps you in victim mode versus the victor. The more that you're in a trauma bond, that means the more cycle of abuses that you've exposed yourself to. And the longer that you're in it, the more beat down you're going to become, the more swallowed you are by the situation, and the more you have to scrape yourself up. The more you got to pick yourself up. So yeah, that's, it's kind of like, what if I would have left in the beginning when I first seen those red flags versus, okay, at 20 years later, I'm leaving. How much more damage was done at that point? You see what I'm saying? That's the scary part of a trauma bond. Staying in it too long, it gives you more baggage more trauma to have to heal from and sort. Right? That's the scary part of not breaking that trauma bond. It just makes that much more reconciling, and that much further away from yourself you're going to be, that much work you're going to have to do to get back to yourself. And that's number 10. The more damage is done over time. Okay, more damage is done over time. because the trauma bond just gets worse and worse. Number 11, this is a good one, you guys. You'll become more and more irrational, actually, the more that you stay in that trauma bond, because the trauma bond is running off of your hormones and it's running off of your emotions. So when you're in the thick of it, and the longer you stay in that, the more irrational you're going to become. So the more irrational that you are, that means the more poor decisions you're going to be making, the more poor perceptions you're going to have. And then this keeps you in that perpetual cycle, you guys. And that's why it's so important to care about breaking that trauma bond. Oh, this is a good one, you guys. Number 12. This is a really good one. Another scary aspect of the trauma bond is because you're probably highly capable. Now, this goes for some of you because I've met some really amazing survivors who are like kicking ass in other areas of their life. Maybe their romantic life may be a little crappy, but outside of that, like you're dotting all the I's and crossing your T's here. So because you're actually a highly capable person in all these other areas of your life, you may not feel like you need help in your romantic part either. You might overly romanticize your own capabilities or your general ability to be in a healthy relationship or your ability to be able to fix and mend and heal things. Because it's like, look, I've been so successful. I done ran this business. I done got my fitness level. I've conquered all these things in my life. Of course, I can fix this relationship. Of course, I can, make this work. So in essence, you may not even know that you're trauma bonded at this point, because you're taking the other energy from your other successes and it's making you overly confident in that area instead of just recognizing, you know what, I'm really good at business stuff and I got to work on the stuff on my heart, or I have some things that I need to work on when it comes to my personal relationships, even though I may be good in my business relationships. It may be something like that, but that takes you, having that self-awareness to be able to be that real with yourself. But, sometimes when you have that type A personality and it might actually just make you want to stay in it longer as well. Like, I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to lose at this, but, it's a losing war just staying in that situation. So you got to understand what the win actually looks like as well. Hey, Yvette. Jesse says, I watched all your videos all the time. Awesome. Thank you for supporting the channel. Yvette says, hi, Lakia. It was and has been very hard for me to break the trauma bond, but I'm so much better than I was. Yeah. Awesome. Good. Well, I'm doing a whole trauma bond series, Yvette. And this is the first video to kick it off. And you know what? I'm actually glad that I started with this one because it just stresses the seriousness of the trauma bond to begin with. You need to understand that it's really serious. But yeah, sometimes, when we're successful people, generally speaking in life, we are not seeing where, you know what, I actually need to get wise counsel here. I need a little guidance in this part of my life. And it's okay to not be the boss, so to speak. Like, it's okay to say, I need help in that department. All right. Number 13, another scary part of the trauma bond is the longer that you stay in the trauma bond, the more normal it's going to feel. And that connects back with number 11, which is, the longer you stay in the trauma bond, you'll become more and more irrational. Because it's not going to feel normal to someone that's not in a trauma bond to, continue to be abused, obviously. So number 14, you guys, This is going to actually go off of number 12, where I talked about the highly capable person. It connects to that. Because you're highly capable, going through that trauma bond experience might give you feelings of humiliation and shame. But here's the kicker to it, and it really sucks. So you are feeling humiliated and feeling shameful about this abuse, possibly, right? And then here comes the narcissist with the remorse factor of the trauma bond. So there's the two parts to the trauma bond, the poor behavior and the positive. We'll put that in quotes, the positive reinforcements. So there you are, feeling humiliated and shame, and you're releasing these stress hormones. And here comes the narcissist with the positive reinforcement. And basically, your abuser is soothing you at this point. Like, you're a good man, you're a good woman for staying with me, you're my ride or die, you're loyal with me, you're down for me, you're smart for staying with me. Like, here they are, trying to help you feel better about the situation. And just like my last video, when I talked about why do people believe the lies that a narcissist tells, like psychologically or emotionally, this is more soothing than embracing the truth at that point, right? So, yeah, that's something to keep an eye out for. So we don't want to, put a Band-Aid over things. And Jessie J says, I'm not getting notifications when you post videos or go live. I was just lucky I caught it. I know. I don't know what the heck is going on with my channel, but I have nearly 30,000 subscribers, honestly. And I feel like they're not being notified. I really feel like they're not being notified. Not sure what's behind that, YouTube. Not sure. I really don't like it. But maybe everyone can just revisit their settings and make sure they're hitting the bell. I don't know. One day I'm being positive. One day it's going to click right, and people are going to actually get notified when I put up content, because it's good stuff. It really is. So let's go to number 15. And this is a really big one. You guys. A scary part of the trauma bond is your sense of duty tends to evolve over time with that person. And it's more like that energy where the narcissist might say, you're all I got, And that's really putting a lot of weight on somebody else that's probably an empath that doesn't want to feel like they're abandoning and rejecting anyone. But then you're feeling this sense of duty to stay with this person. Like, who's going to take care of them if I don't? Or, these are the type of things. Or because you feel like you love them, right? You don't want them to be alone. Or you feel like you understand them the most, right? So there's this sense of duty that evolves. And you may even just have this cycle of getting used to cleaning up their messes, and it's just a pattern at this point. And that's what a trauma bond is, a very toxic hormonal and psychological pattern that's going on there. But yeah, that sense of duty evolves over time. And you know what? Especially for the men out there, I mean, it goes both ways, because women are just naturally nurturers. So that sense of duty comes on you in that way. But for a man that may be wired to protect and provide, that sense of duty will come over you as well. And then there are men, and maybe I should, make some content for them, who notoriously like to try to save toxic women. And I'll just say it that way, because there's nothing wrong with a man rescuing a woman. That's what a man is naturally wired to do. But I guess I'm just talking about like at a man's detriment. Like, he's doing this, like, it's a lose-lose situation for him at that point with that type of woman. It's not going to be appreciated properly, and it's not going to play out the way you thought, buddy. Okay. But yeah, there's a sense of duty that'll evolve over time in these toxic situations because everybody's playing a certain kind of role. And a messy narcissist, they always they need people to take care of them, honestly, and that's why they love empaths. But those are 15 really scary aspects of the trauma bond, you guys, and this is kicking off the trauma bond series. So, hopefully that helps somebody begin to see the seriousness of a trauma bond to begin with. Why do you even need to care about this series? Why should you watch any of the rest of the content? Well, there you go right there. There you go right there. So I do have energy, you guys. Let me see. Which one can we get into next? Maybe I'll let you guys help me choose. So we just did the scary part of the trauma bond. The other videos that I have is how a trauma bond is formed, the psychological aspects. I got how to break a trauma bond. I got 4 different ways we respond to abuse. It ties in with the trauma bond. We have the types of trauma bonds, and we have signs of a trauma bond in a relationship. I think I'm going to do that one next. Signs of a trauma bond in a relationship. That's to me an easy flowing video for me to bump out the way for the series. I think I want to do that next. What do you guys think? Signs of a trauma bond in a relationship? So, and then I have some content that isn't a part of this series that I'll be getting to with you guys that I think you'll like. Do narcissists know they're lying? How narcissists use communication. Ways a narcissist, we did that. Ways a narcissist tells the truth. And is it worth confronting a narcissist about lies? Those are some, as you can see, I basically have a trauma bond series and I basically have a narcissist and a lying series coming up, basically. So yeah, those are going to be some good ones too. But I'm going to hop off this live chat, you guys, because I want to compartmentalize this, and I'm going to hop into the next one, which we said was going to be signs of a trauma bond in a relationship. All right. So I'll see you guys in the next live chat if you are going to come over. All right, you guys.